Good morning. This is Dennis Fuchs with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District update. And with harvest wrapping up in many areas, folks are going to be thinking about putting some fall fertilizer, especially nitrogen, on this fall. And I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Department of Ag's Groundwater Protection Rule. The Groundwater Protection Rule minimizes potential sources of nitrate pollution to the state's groundwater and protects our drinking water. The rule restricts the application of nitrogen fertilizer in the fall and on frozen soils in areas where soils are sensitive to contamination, and it outlines steps to reduce the severity of problem in areas where nitrate in public water supplies wells is already elevated, such as Cold Spring and Melrose. So the rule has got two parts. The first part of the rule is the restriction of the application of nitrogen fertilizer in the fall and on frozen soils if you farm in an area with sensitive groundwater and those areas around a municipal public well known as a drinking water supply management area with high nitrate. So that'd be like in the Melrose Cold Spring area, fall fertilizer applications in the drinking water supply management area is restricted. And if you have coarse textured soils, it would also be restricted. And you're wondering where are the coarse textured soils in Stearns County? That'd be along the Sauk River, and the other rivers where you had sandy soils deposited when the glacier came through. Also the Bonanza Valley is another area. And also along the Mississippi River, along the Anoka Sand Plains. Those are some of the big areas, but if you really want to tune in and check your farm, the Minnesota Department of Ag has an interactive map, and it's a quarter section by quarter section breakdown of if you can apply fertilizer, nitrogen fertilizer, in the fall on your soils. So that's available online. And part two of the rule is a response to drinking water supply management areas which already have elevated nitrate. And the goal there is to take action to reduce nitrate in groundwater before a public well exceeds the health standard for nitrate. So the standard is 10 part per million, and as you approach that, as you get over 5 part per million, you start moving into a zone where you have to do some additional work. And one thing to keep in mind is that there are 4 mitigation levels used to determine voluntary and regulatory actions, 2 voluntary levels and 2 regulatory. All areas begin at the voluntary level and move to a regulation only if best management practices are not adopted or if nitrate contamination in the groundwater increases. So we're working with the communities of Cold Spring and Melrose. We've got farmers and agronomists and other community members as part of a local advisory team, and they're working with the Minnesota Department of Agriculture to identify the best management practices to reduce nitrate levels in their drinking water supply. And that's been going on for the past year, and we're working on some best management practices, and we hope to have those management tools available next year for farmers, and we'll be rolling that out with the Department of Ag and our partners to make sure that we get good adoption of those best management practices. Now, for areas where you can apply fertilizer this fall, you can do that after the soil temps reach 50 degrees. And there's a map online that shows you what the 6-inch soil temp is. And I'm clicking right now at the Paynesville 6-inch soil temp, and today is Thursday. I'm recording this. Sorry, it's not live right there at the Chasm radio station. But we're looking at temperatures bouncing right now, 56 degrees up to about 60, 61 degrees. But the forecast is for much cooler temps, so keep an eye on that. It could be today, Saturday, when you're listening to this, could be those temps dropping down below 50 degrees where it's okay to apply. And one of the forms of nitrogen fertilizer that works very well in the fall is anhydrous. Anhydrous is a product, though, you want to be very safe in how you handle it. And just some tips include always wear anhydrous rated goggles and gloves, never wear contact lenses. Be sure to have a clean and accessible emergency water supply of at least 5 gallons available. And exercise caution when making connections and disconnections and transfer lines, treating them as if they always contain anhydrous. Stand-up wind when connecting, disconnecting, bleeding lines, or transferring anhydrous. Also, close, bleed, disconnect, and secure valves and transfer lines when taking breaks or disconnecting lines. And be sure to handle the hose and valves by the valve body. And position equipment away and downwind from homes, people, and livestock. Safety is the key when you're working with anhydrous. And if you do ever have an accident or a spill, seek medical care if needed immediately. Call 911 and call the Minnesota duty officer at 1-800-422-0798. Once again, that Minnesota duty officer number is 1-800-422-0798. And there's a lot more information about safety, storage, and transportation on the Minnesota Department of Ag's website. And you can just Google Minnesota Department of Ag anhydrous, and it'll bring you right to the site. And just a reminder, fall application of anhydrous should happen after the average soil temperatures reach 50 degrees Fahrenheit or cooler to help prevent nitrogen loss, ensure more nitrogen will be available for your crop next year. So those are just some pointers today with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District update. I hope everybody's having a safe and productive fall harvest, and we'll see you the next time on Chasm Radio. Bye now.